Now, as I've said it times many, and I will say it times many again, the basics of any battery, I mean the absolute basis is preparation of making sure that you've got the right cells, you've got the right capacity cells, you've got the right output, you've got the right wiring, absolutely everything. The layout is important, absolutely the layout is critical to getting the maximum power out of any battery. Now, when I first bought these, when they first arrived, the day they arrived, I measured the voltage of the cells. And the reason is, if the manufacturer thinks, oh, that's a duff cell, I'll bang some voltage and in a few days it'll be dropped. So if I was to measure that voltage now, I'd find out that it was 3.1 volts or whatever, but in actual fact when it turned up it was 3.4, that sort of thing. So you've got to be careful. Measure the voltages as soon as they turn up, then leave it a few days, which I have done, and then I'll recheck all the voltages now, which I've written down on there, which you can't really see, but I can. Unfortunately, we're going to have a bit of a do as I say and not as I do, because this is Thailand and I'm limited on the amount of stuff that I can buy. I have to buy it after the fact, so we've got things like this, which is a raised platform. So what you need to do is make sure that the batteries are protected, because you don't want any wear, although it's plastic, you don't want any wear in the wrong places. So when I've done all this, what I'm going to do is use layers of bubble wrap just to make sure everything's in place, and then when I've finished it, I've got to get a piece of what do they call it now, you know, closed cell neoprene or whatever it is, the thick stuff, heavy duty stuff. I think I'm going to have to lose the LED light because it's completely useless now. Actually, I'll take that off now. Taking the light out, it's not going to be needed anyway because it's going to be basically covered by batteries. So anyway, I've taken it out, put the screws in, just so everything's in the right place. I've got to cut this out to fit the 120 amp breaker because this one keeps popping and it's getting very, very hot. You've got two options on this. I mean, I've had to cut this thing off because it was sticking up as well. You've got two options. You either get a plate, which I might do actually. I might get a wooden plate or something and put it on there just to and leave this thing off completely, just to make a completely flat surface for it. So, but for the time being, I'm going to put that in there like that. Yes, I'll start loading the batteries now. So if we have positive there, negative. Put the temperature sensors in the middle, so yeah, it can go as a square pack by the looks of it. It's going to be very tight and I've got to make sure I can get the seat down, but I reckon I could build that as a square pack. So we'd have the positive from here, negative, positive, blah 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 blah, positive, negative, and then we can have the negative off here. So we've got the positive and negative there, and that will work. Obviously these are going to come in a bit because it's got to be a completely square pack like that, but I reckon I could build that inside and then drop it in here after I've done all my reinforcements and everything. The only side, or the only point that's got to be at any angle is this one. All the rest can sit square, and then that one can sit a bit like that. So what I'll do is I'll take a photo and I can go inside and build it, and then I can come out and just drop the whole lot in. I've got to put the BMS somewhere, which I think I'll put on one of the sides here. or maybe on the front, I don't know, and then I can link all the wires properly. So we've got positive there, battery positive there, battery negative there, and then we'll go that way, positive, negative, and then come across here. Job's a good one. Easy as that. It's incredibly easy to do this. I don't understand why it's so easy. Anyway, yes, I thought I'd bring the whole thing in one go. So I could actually build it in situ, and then when my rubber mat or my piece of plywood or whatever turns up, it's going to have to be a thin piece because I've got a very limited amount of space on the top, because I don't want the seat obviously touching it. But otherwise, yeah, I've checked the seat and it comes down perfect. Here's another tip, and even down to the point where if you pick up a nut like that and then you think, oh, I'll straighten it out with this hand, don't. When you pick the things up like that, do it outside, pick it up and straighten it so as it's ready in your fingers and tight, so as you don't drop the bloody thing, because I've done that before as well. I can't stress. Me and health and safety don't bloody mix. I'm you know, safety last sort of thing, as Harold Lloyd did, whatever. I'm that sort of person. But when it comes to building batteries and doing this, definitely not. I do think that will fit square on, so I can take that out and work on it outside actually. Yeah, I'll do that. Shit. Because you're working on a battery, if I touch any of this with one hand, I'm fine. Now this, you can't feel it. How many voltages is that? How many voltages? 36 volts, thereabouts. I can't feel that. So, working with these voltages is fine, but when you start doubling it, that's when it starts getting bloody painful. And it can kill you, depending how it actually hits you. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on it like that, because it will flatten the cells out so I can strap them all together. If I build the battery in 2 halves, and then when I put it in I can put the series link across, I think that's the best idea. I'll have to work on it like this, and then I can lift it on its side. So this one here, so we've got a positive to negative there, and then a positive there goes to the negative on this one because it's going round in this direction. So you got the positive there to the negative of there, and then I need to link the negative of that one to the positive of that one, and then the next one, which is going to be the negative of that one to the positive of that one, because it's in series. Okay, the pack's built. Now, because this one here isn't going to be part of the square sort of parts of the pack, I'm taking that one off, and then I can tape these up. I've got some Captain tape here. Now what I want to do is make sure they're 100% square. They're going to be square this way because of the clamps on the top, so if I tilt these or put these on the side like that, I can get some Captain tape on the ends and wrap them around. I'm still not happy with that thing there. I might have to elongate that one, because this is what you don't want, is these. I've actually, I'll tell you the truth, I've got it wrong a couple of times, and I've I won't say I've got a pisser, but it really did. No, you don't get a shock off it. Well, the only shock you get is because it's happened. That's what's called complacency, and it will get you every single time, believe me. Right, you have to think. Where's that got to go? That's got to go onto the positive and negative. I hate connecting them. And then that can go on there, and then I can put my nuts back on. I go along these with this. I don't use a ratchet because it takes too much to actually undo them, and I hold it like that, so as this cannot fall off. I know it is quite tight, but I want to make sure it doesn't fall off. I'll square these off and make sure everything's right. With the nuts loose, you don't want them tight. You want to get your tape, preferably Captain tape, because I know Captain tape is strong, it's heat resistant, it basically it works. I'm limited on Captain tape size because that's all I could get at the time. I'll do 3, I think. Where my scissors gone? Bloody hell. I'm going through and I'm tightening these, and I'm using the ratchet this time because it's just a simple tightening, and I can judge how tight these bolts actually go. Nuts a lot better. So I'm not tightening them tight, I'm just torquing them down to 6. I ain't got a clue what it's supposed to be. I know there's a torque setting, but I never used torque settings. I haven't got a bloody torque driver. Click. But all the time I'm holding the socket, because if that comes off, you're gonna have a bad day, you know. So that's all done. That's all done. They're bound together. Beautiful. So what I'm going to do now, gecko, ready? There you go. That's a positive, that's a negative, so I've got to put a link across there. I don't like this. This is only so as I can get the BMS wired up and everything. Like that. And then that one was going to go there, wasn't it? So now the positive is there, the negative is there, and that I can probably lift up in one pack. I think I'm going to bind it all together. I couldn't have planned that any better, could I, eh? It fits all the way around here, all on the sides, all on the front. It touches just about there. It touches on the bottom. I might be able to get another couple of cells in there, but that'd be series then, wouldn't it? And I'd have a higher voltage, so I can't do that. Right, where am I going to put the BMS? I think the BMS is going to go on the front side here. There's plenty of room on that one cell, I can stick it onto there. So, yes. Right, here we go. I'm going to get it out somehow. I don't know how I'm going to lift it now. And I'm going to wire the BMS up to that cell. This is my battery, which is 23S, I think. This is the BMS, which you've got to be careful not to. I'm not failing anything at the minute, so I can't fail that. That's 70 something volts, and I still can't fail it. Anyway, if I put my across it, I bloody will. So this is the BMS, and these are the wires. So they give you 2 banks of wire, because it's just impossible to get a, well, you can get a 24 pin connector, but it doesn't come out or go in very easy. That's why they split them. Now on the ends here you've got all the connectors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount the BMS here like that. I'm literally going to stick it to this cell. So, or I could mount it down there. I could mount it at the bottom so it doesn't fall anywhere, and it's going to be easier for me. So what I do is, or what you're supposed to do is, your first wire is your negative, which goes to the negative on the battery, and then your next wire, which is that one, goes to the first positive on the battery, second positive, third positive, and so on and so on and so on. What you've got to remember is the positive is also the negative of the other one. So it doesn't matter which side you connect this, it's going to be on the positive. Sorry, yeah. So the first one goes there, the next one will say, which is actually that one goes there. It can go here, it can go here, it doesn't matter which terminal you actually connect it to. I always connect it to the closest one because it makes it a lot easier, which is actually the negative of this one. So I'm going to mount the BMS there, and then we're going to run all the wires, they're all going to run up the middle, nice and tidy, and at the end of it I'll have something tidy, I hope anyway. Right, I'll start doing that. My scissors gone now. Who's nicked my scissors? I just put them down there. Someone put them over there. I only paid, I think it was about a pound, no, £1.50 a roll for this. And it's 3M, but it does say Scotch, 3M Scotch, super strong, maximum strength, and it doesn't come off. It just does not come off. Well, you can't see what I'm doing. I've got this double-sided tape here. It's not the usual stuff that I used to use in the UK. It's quite weird stuff. It's like a lot more foamy, but it doesn't. The bond on it is ridiculous. I'm only putting this on to test it basically, and to balance the pack and get it to the same voltage as the other pack. It doesn't have to be exact. These people have only built one battery, think they know everything. Here we go. I'm going to get these wires. Don't pull them too tight. You want some tension relief on them, because obviously you've got to get the connector back in. But what I do is, if you get your first one on, which is your negative, and then you unplug the connector, because you're not supposed to have it plugged in when you're doing this. So I'm going to put that there, and then I can cut that there. I'm doing this the wrong way, by the way. You're supposed to put connectors on them, proper connectors. And number one, I haven't got them. Number two, I can't be bothered. So I'm doing it my way. I'm doing it the Tony way, which is the correct wrong way. Take no notice of me. Do as I say, not as I do. And you won't have a problem. But you can do it this way if you want. Up to you. I'm getting a piece of double-sided tape, and I'm going to stick it there, which is right by the connector. So then I can stick the connector on the front with the double-sided tape, and then I can wire it up, and then I can take it off, and then I can plug it in, and all the wires are going to be perfect. We've got loads and loads of wires, which looks a bit intimidating to start with, but believe me, it's not. It is relatively straightforward, as long as you get it right first time. Yeah, it has to be right first time, otherwise you're going to end up with smoke and fire and puppies will die. So the first one goes to the battery negative, the full negative terminal, and then the second wire, goes to the first positive, which is here. It always goes down on all the positives, and if you do that in sequence until you run out, and then you just think, well, I've got some wires left over, but I'll tell you what to do with them. Oh, you see what I mean? If you're not careful, I'll just bridge two cells. Ah, you. Ah, right. I'll give you a warning, which I should have done before. Your fingers aren't really that sensitive because the amount of the moisture in your skin, in your fingers. But things like your forearms here. I've just put my arm across the positive and negative. You've got to bear in mind that this thing can kill. I'm not joking. I mean, I might be pissing around with it, but I know what this pisser feels like, and I know it's not too bad. But if you've got a bloody pacemaker or something going on, or if you put your fingers across those two terminals, which I still can't feel anything through my fingers, but if I put my forearms on there, bloody hell, you never know what's going to happen. It could kill you. So bear that in mind, it can kill you. I used to get people email me, I don't get it anymore. People used to email me and say, look, I've just built this battery and my house has burnt down. What am I supposed to do? So, well, you shouldn't have built one in the first place. I had loads of people with LTO. I think it was a bloke actually. He bought a shitload of LTO cells, and he tried to wire them all up, and he was having major problems with them. Blah blah blah. And it's the first and only time I've done it, but I ghosted him, sort of thing. But I had to, because he wasn't listening to what I was telling him. He didn't understand what I was telling him, even though I put it into the most basic of terms. And I said to him in the end, I said, look, you shouldn't be doing this. So I never heard off him again, so I don't know what happened. Just to let you know, I mean, if you decide to do it this way, which is the proper way, by just putting the wires in, what happens is when you tighten it up, it basically cuts the wires. So you've got to beware that this is not the right way to do it, but I've got no real choice, because this has been done on a bare string, is that the word? Bare string budget. A bare budget. A string budget. It's been built on little money. So I've got to reduce my bloody cost by a massive amount, because I just can't afford to do it anymore. My God, this thing's going to shift. Ho ho ho! It's really going to go some. That's that connector done. So I'm going to, where's my other one? I'm going to get this one, and then I'm going to stick it on there. I talk bollocks, you know. I talk total shit. Occasionally there's something intelligent comes out of my mouth, but you know, it's rare. So I've now got that wire, which is the first one on the next plug, which goes to that positive there. That, actually, I f***ed up with that, haven't I? That should have gone to there. You see, we all get things wrong. We all make mistakes. That's the human way. Everybody makes mistakes, and realising your mistakes and correcting your mistakes is a learning curve. And I should have known better. It's not easy, you know. Ow, ow, ow. Just got to piss her off. I think, to me, when you get a pisser off something, it makes you more careful. It makes you respect it more until you get the next one, because you get complacent. I'm doing this and I'm showing you, well, I'm explaining to you that, number one, cock-ups are made. People do make mistakes. I know it's bad, but you know, people do make mistakes. Everyone is human. I make mistakes. Usually I make monumental mistakes. I would have picked up on it afterwards anyway. Shut, you bastard. The Western world has completely messed everybody's heads up, and the more you look at it, the more I look at it over here, the more I think that everybody else is just completely messed up. Oppressed and depressed, that's what it is. Oppression and depression, that's exactly what they want you to feel, so they can keep you under control basically with drugs or whatever. I might start doing cross stitch next week. This is the same sort of thing, isn't it? Or whatever it's called. My mum does it. Don't you, Mum? Are we still recording? I had a bit of a problem then. We've now got to here, which is the last one. And obviously we haven't got any wires left. But this is the last one. So what we do is we take this red wire and we also connect that to the battery positive. Any that you haven't used, you just leave out. Just skip them basically. The most complex one I did was on version 3 e-bike. Go and have a look at that. I'll put a link in the description. But that was the most complex build I've ever done. And that thing was nerve-wracking when I plugged that in. Bloody hell. These wires here, obviously they've got to go the other way now because I've moved everything. So that one's going to go in there and this one is going to go in there. So what you need to do is get your multimeter, 20 volts, get your multimeter and check the voltage. Now you can put it on the negative. In fact, so that's what I recommend that you do. Put your negative probe on the negative side of the battery. If I can wedge that in there somewhere. Your negative on here should read 0, which it does. And there, I've got the thing in the way now, haven't I? Dickhead. Your negative should read nothing. The first one should be the first battery voltage, 3.4 volts, and then a sum of the next voltage, which is 6.8, 10.1, 13.5. It should go up roughly by the amount of the battery voltage. So if you, on mine, I've got we'll say about 3.4 volts, 3.2, 3.4 volts. So it should increase by that amount every time. 3.4, 6.8, 10.1. I've got to make sure that the whole pack is the same voltage as the other one. Unfortunately, I can't do a lot more now, but you know, it's done, it's working, it's balancing. Yay, happy. I'll catch you in the next one, chaps. And chapess is chapess. Isn't that like a chav? No, it's not. Oh, shut up, Tony.
Should you really be eating while you're doing that?
Yeah.